I am Jabari, son of King Bahati, the beloved and respected prince of my tribe. From a young age, I was educated to lead with wisdom and bravery. My people saw in me a reflection of my father, a fair and kind leader. I have always made a point of being close to my subjects, listening to their needs and solving their problems. Every gesture of affection and gratitude I received filled me with pride and reinforced my desire to be a worthy leader. However, amidst this sea of admiration and respect, there was one man who did not share the same feelings, Kamisi, the sorcerer of our tribe. He was a powerful but dark man, always isolated and shrouded in mystery. Many said that he was jealous of the attention and affection I received, something he never managed to achieve, despite his magical powers. One particularly dark night, I was walking around the palace grounds, reflecting on the responsibilities that would come when I assumed the throne. It was then that I felt a strange presence, a heavy energy that made my hair stand on end. Before he could react, Kamisi emerged from the shadows, his eyes glowing with an evil intensity. "Kamisi, what are you doing here at this time?" I asked, trying to remain calm. He laughed, a cold, joyless laugh. "Oh, Prince Jabari, always so noble and fair." His words dripped with sarcasm. "You don't realize, do you? All this adoration, all this attention. It should all be mine." Before I could respond, he raised his hands and began a chant in an ancient language unknown to me. An intense light enveloped me, and I felt my body being pulled and distorted. The pain was unbearable, and everything around me began to spin. When the light finally dissipated, I was no longer standing on two legs. I looked down and saw white and gold feathers. My hands had turned into sharp and powerful claws. I was an eagle, majestic and imposing, but trapped in a form that was not mine. "What did you do, Kamisi?" I screamed, but all that came out was a shrill bird cry. He laughed again, pleased with his achievement. "Now you will know true solitude, Prince. You will fly through the skies, but you will never find peace." And with those words, he disappeared into the darkness of the night. Desperately, I flapped my wings, trying to get used to my new form. I took flight, leaving the palace and my life behind. The feeling of freedom was paradoxical, for although I could fly freely, my heart was imprisoned by Kamisi's curse. For days and nights, I flew over unknown lands, dense forests, scorching deserts, and imposing mountains. With each flap of wings, my mind was buzzing with questions. How can I reverse this curse? How do I return to my family and my people? Would there be someone who could help me? On my solitary flight, I saw a small village in the distance. I decided to land, hoping to find some clue or someone who could guide me. Upon landing, I was greeted by curious children and suspicious adults. I kept a safe distance, watching and waiting for an opportunity to communicate my situation. It was then that I heard the voice of an elderly woman, a woman with gray hair and a serene look. "Come, majestic eagle. I see in your eyes a tormented soul. Maybe I can help." His voice was soft, but full of authority. I approached cautiously, and she looked at me deeply, as if she could see my true essence. "You're not an ordinary eagle, are you?" she asked, with a half smile. I shook my head, trying to convey my agony. "My name is Mama Nia. Come, let's find a way to reverse this curse." And with those words, she guided me inside her cabin, where our journey to redemption and the discovery of valuable lessons about leadership and compassion would begin. The prince's fall was just the beginning of a much deeper and more significant transformation. Flying high through the skies, the powerful wings of my new eagle form sliced through the air with precision. The feeling of freedom was paradoxically distressing, because, despite flying over vast lands, I was trapped in a body that was not my own. With each wing beat, my mind buzzed with questions and uncertainty. How could a prince, destined to lead and protect his people, end up reduced to a bird, no matter how majestic he was? My solitary flight took me over dense forests, where the green stretched as far as the eye could see. The trees, like sleeping giants, whispered ancient secrets in the wind. I crossed scorching deserts, where scorching heat rose in waves from the sandy floor, reminding me of the urgency of my mission. The imposing mountains, with their snow-capped peaks, appeared like silent sentinels, watching my trajectory with a wisdom that seemed to transcend time. On one of these trips, I saw an imposing figure on the ground, a lion whose presence emanated an innate strength. I approached cautiously, landing on a nearby rock. The lion, noticing my presence, raised its head and our eyes met. There was something familiar and at the same time sad in his eyes. "Who are you, noble lion?" I asked, my voice echoing in his mind through a magical bond that now felt natural in my eagle form. "I'm Jabari," he replied, his voice deep but soft. "I have been bewitched never to roar again." A lion without a roar, like an eagle without freedom, is but a shadow of what it should be. The empathy I felt for Jabari was immediate. Our curse stories intertwined, and I realized I was not alone in my search for redemption. We decided to join forces, each bringing our own experiences and skills to our shared journey. We flew and rode together for weeks, facing challenges that tested not only our physical endurance, but also our perseverance and faith. I encountered other cursed creatures on our path, a serpent that longed to walk on its paws, a deer that longed for the gift of speech. Each of them told us their stories, weaving a tapestry of suffering and hope that made me reflect on my own condition. One day, as we rested in the shade of an ancient tree, Jabari shared an idea that would change the course of our search. "Jabari, I heard of a wise elder named Mama Nia," he said, his eyes shining with a spark of hope. "She is known for her vast knowledge of magic and sorcery. Perhaps she can help us." "Then we should look for her," I replied, feeling a new wave of determination. If there is anyone who can undo these curses, it must be her. Our journey took us into increasingly unknown territories, following rumors and clues that guided us toward Mama Nia. The path was arduous, but Jabari's company was a constant reminder that true strength came from within. He taught me that even without his roar, he was still a leader, brave and worthy. During an especially cold night in the mountains, as the wind howled around us, Jabari and I shared stories of our lives before the curses. "I remember my first roar," Jabari said, his voice thick with nostalgia. "It was a symbol of my strength and my right to lead." "And you, Jabari? What do you miss most?" "To be able to touch my people's hands, to look into my mother's eyes and know that I can protect them," I replied, sadness weighing down my words. "We will find a way to reverse this," said Jabari, convinced. "Together we are stronger." With these words of encouragement, we continued our search. Each day that passed brought us closer to Mama Nia, and the promise of a solution to our cursed fates. With each challenge overcome, with each creature encountered, we learned more about ourselves and the true nature of leadership and compassion. After weeks of relentless searching, Jabari and I finally heard rumors about a wise old woman named Mama Nia. They said that she had vast knowledge of magic and sorcery, and that she lived in a remote village, in perfect harmony with nature. Our hearts, once filled with uncertainty, now pulsed with new hope. "We need to find her, Jabari. She may be our only chance," I said, flapping my wings with renewed vigor. Jabari, despite his inability to roar, communicated his agreement with a determined look and a powerful nod. We flew and ran for days, crossing diverse landscapes and facing natural challenges, until we finally saw the village where Mama Nia supposedly lived. As I landed in the clearing, I felt the weight of anxiety and hope in my chest. The village was peaceful, and the inhabitants watched us with curiosity and respect. An elderly woman, with eyes that seemed to contain centuries of wisdom, emerged from a hut covered in vines and flowers. It was Mama Nia. "You must be Jabari," she said, her voice soft and welcoming, but also loaded with authority. "And you, Zubari, the lion who has lost his roar." "Yes, it's us, Mama Nia. We came to seek your help," I replied, trying to keep my tone steady despite the emotion that flooded me. I was turned into an eagle by an evil spell, and Zubari lost his voice. "We need to reverse these curses." Mama Nia looked deeply into my eyes, as if reading my soul. "I see nobility in you, Prince Jabari. But in order for me to help you, you must prove your worth, your courage, and most of all, your heart." "I'm prepared for any challenge," I declared, with a determination I didn't know I possessed until that moment. Mama Nia smiled slightly and nodded. "Very well. There are tasks you must complete. They will not only test your physical abilities, but also your wisdom and compassion. Only then can I guide you to reverse the spell." She gave me the first task: find and heal an injured antelope that was wandering through the forest. We set off immediately, with me flying high and Zubari running nimbly. We found the antelope trapped in a cruel trap. My heart sank when I saw his suffering. We worked together to free him, and I treated his wounds with the herbs Mama Nia had given us. The antelope, once healed, looked at us gratefully before disappearing into the forest. When we returned, Mama Nia was waiting for us. "You have demonstrated compassion and skill. Now, go to the village to the east and help the villagers with their needs." In the village, we find people struggling with a severe drought. I worked tirelessly alongside the villagers, helping to build irrigation canals and digging wells to find water. Zubari, with his strength, also contributed a lot. The gratitude in the eyes of the villagers was the reward that gave us the strength to continue. Finally, Mama Nia gave us the last task: to confront our own inner fears. For me, this meant facing the fear of never regaining my human form and the responsibility I would have as a leader. For Zubari, it was accepting his inner strength beyond the roar. Mama Nia, observing everything, said, "Jabari, true leadership is not just about power and strength, but about empathy and service to others. You have learned this throughout your assignments. But how will that help me break the spell?" I asked, still confused. "You'll find out soon enough," Mama Nia replied cryptically. "Now, go and find Kamisi. The key to reversing the spell lies in your heart, Jabari. Confront him not with hate, but with compassion and forgiveness." With these words in mind, I prepared for the journey back to my homeland. I was ready to face Kamisi, no longer as an enemy, but as someone who needed redemption as much as I needed my humanity back. When Mama Nia asked me to prove my worth and courage, I had no idea of the difficulties that awaited me. Each day brought a new challenge, but it was during these trials that I understood the true essence of leadership and companionship. The first task seemed simple, but it turned out to be a valuable lesson. Mama Nia took me to a clearing where a deer lay injured, unable to move. "Jabari, heal this deer," she said in a calm but firm voice. "It's not enough to just use your claws and beak. Use your heart." I realized that it wasn't about physical strength, but about empathy. I used my wings to cover him, protecting him from the strong sun, and looked for medicinal herbs, following Mama Nia's instructions. Little by little, the deer began to recover. When he finally got up and ran free through the forest, I felt immense joy. I understood that true leadership involves caring for the weakest and neediest. The second test was even more challenging. I was taken to a neighboring village where a huge storm had destroyed several houses. People were desperate, not knowing how to start over. "Help them rebuild," instructed Mama Nia. But remember, leadership is not about giving orders. It's about inspiring and working alongside others. The task seemed overwhelming, but I decided to start by listening to the villagers. Many were discouraged, but upon seeing my determination, they began to join me. We worked together, day and night, rebuilding each house. During this process, I realized that the true strength of a leader lies in their ability to inspire and unite people around a common goal. Between tasks, I had time to reflect on Kamisi. Little by little, I discovered that he was not just a jealous sorcerer, but a man marked by a life of rejection and pain. This realization began to change my heart. Instead of anger, I began to feel compassion for him. The final test was the most difficult. Mama Nia took me to a deep, dark cave. Inside were a series of intricate and dangerous tunnels. "Face your fears, Jabari. Find your way to the light," she said. Entering the cave was like confronting all my inner fears. There were moments when panic almost overcame me, but I remembered the previous lessons. I took a deep breath and continued, step by step, until I finally found the exit. The sunlight never seemed so bright and welcoming as it did at that moment. When I left the cave, Mama Nia was waiting for me with a knowing smile. "You learned well, Jabari. True leadership is a journey of compassion, service, and self-discovery. But I still don't know how to reverse the spell," he said, feeling a mixture of gratitude and frustration. Mama Nia placed a gentle hand on my wing. "The answer is within you, Jabari. Continue the journey with a pure heart and you will find the way." Reflecting on his words, I realized that my quest to reverse the spell was deeply intertwined with my own internal transformation. Every lesson I learned, every act of kindness and courage, brought me closer to my true self. Throughout this journey, Jabari has remained by my side, offering not only his strength, but also his quiet wisdom. Although he could not roar, his presence was a constant reminder that true strength does not need to be loud or imposing to be felt. "Jabari, I feel like I'm changing," I confessed one day as we flew together, soaring over vast plains golden by the setting sun. "We all change, Jabari. The question is whether we are changing for the better," he replied with a contemplative look. These words echoed in my mind as we continued our search. Every challenge, every interaction, shaped me not just as a leader, but as a human being. I understood that the journey to breaking the spell was not just about regaining my human form, but about becoming worthy of being a truly compassionate and wise leader. After weeks of challenges, I grew not only as an eagle, but as a human being. I was eager to find out what Mama Nia had in store for me. Finally, it was time for the last test. Mama Nia called me to her hut, where the smoke of aromatic herbs filled the air with a comforting scent. She looked deeply into my eagle eyes and said, "Jabari, you have proven your courage, wisdom, and compassion. Now there remains the final task, the most difficult of all, to confront Kamisi, not with hate, but with forgiveness." I was silent, absorbing his words. "Sorry?" I thought. "Kamisi took everything from me. How could I forgive him?" But at the same time, I felt a spark of understanding. Mama Nia continued, "True power lies not in defeating the enemy, but in understanding him and, if possible, helping him find his way back." "But, Mama Nia, how can I forgive someone who did me so much harm? Who turned my life into a nightmare?" I asked, my voice shaking with emotion. She smiled softly and replied, "Hate is a prison, Jabari. It consumes the wielder more than the target. You have the ability to break this cycle. The key to your spell lies in your heart. Go to Kamisi, look in his eyes, and offer what he never expected from you, compassion." With these words echoing in my mind, I flew back to my homeland. I flew over the landscapes I knew so well, now seen from a different perspective. My heart was beating fast as I approached the village. I landed softly and, with a flap of wings, walked to Kamisi's hut. Upon entering, I found Kamisi, a shadow of the powerful man he was. His eyes were sunken and his posture was hunched. When he saw me, a flash of fear crossed his face. "Jabari," he muttered in disbelief. "Have you come to destroy me?" I took a deep breath, remembering Mama Nia's words. "No, Kamisi. I came to forgive you." His eyes widened in surprise. "I understood that what you did was because of your pain and envy. But hatred has brought me nothing but suffering. I have come to offer my help, if you are willing to accept it." Kamisi fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I never expected this from you. I always thought I would be hated forever. What I did was unforgivable. True leadership, Kamisi, is not just in commanding, but in forgiving. "Let us work together to rebuild what was lost," I replied, with a firm but compassionate tone. As I uttered these words, a soft light enveloped my body. I felt a profound transformation, and in the blink of an eye I was back in my human form. I looked at my hands, now flesh and blood, and smiled. Kamisi, still kneeling, looked at me with a mixture of regret and relief. "Thank you, Jabari. I promise to use my powers for good, to help our tribe prosper," he said, with a sincerity he hadn't had before. I returned to my people a transformed leader. The lessons I learned as an eagle, and Mama Nia's wisdom, shaped a new path for me. My people welcomed me with joy, but I knew that my true mission was just beginning. Together with Kamisi, we worked to build a community based on empathy, compassion, and forgiveness. Experience has taught me that true power is not in brute strength, but in the ability to forgive and lead with the heart. I was a prince, but now, more than ever, I was a leader. And with Mama Nia, Kamisi, and my people by my side, I was ready to guide our tribe into a bright and harmonious future.